92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, 10 minutes gone past the hour of 5. Greetings to you once again. This is Hard Facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakurubatbo, and it's time for us to talk some more. If you are on Facebook, you already know what the topic is about. The topic is ex-governors taking pension. That's what the topic is. Ex-governors taking pension. My guest for the hour is the Deputy Director, SERAP. I'm talking about Kolawole Oluwadare. He will be joining me shortly. He's got other engagements, so I'm just going to quickly open the phone lines while I'm waiting for him to join the conversation to understand why he has taken this matter to court. Now, I hear from my off-record conversation with Kolawole Oluwadare, he said to me that there are two parts to this issue. One are ex-governors who are in the National Assembly, who are legislators. The other is or has to do with ex-governors who are in the cabinet of the president. So it's very interesting because most likely Rivers State is a part. Yeah, you heard me right. Rivers State is a part of this issue. Remember, you and I, we talked about it one time. We have a law that was passed by the Rivers State House of Assembly during the administration of the then governor, Rotimi Chibika-Mechi. During Wike's time in 2015, when he came on board, he attempted to repeal that law. We don't really know if that law has been repealed. However, we've seen certain gift items given to a particular past governor. Meanwhile, another past governor has come out to say he has never received pension from the Rivers State government. Is pension still being paid? Is the minister of the FCT receiving pension? These are things that we want to talk about. But Rivers State is not the only state. There is a Kwai-Bom. There are other states, and when the SERAP Deputy Director comes on the show, we will look at all of the facts, we'll look at all of the issues, and we will talk for development. But I've got a quick question for you. I'm going to quickly open the phone line. So, what usually we would do would have been to listen to the guest and then open the phone lines. But now I think I'm going to reverse the situation because we just have 1 hour or even less, right, to have the conversation. So let me hear from you. Maybe your thoughts will change after listening to SERAP's Deputy Director. But the question I want to ask is, given that governors get to serve for 8 years, and they get to serve you and I on paper, right? They get to ensure that you and I get development and our lives are better off, right? They get to make sure that things like electricity supply, good roads, and all the basic amenities that we need are provided. And then they're done. Should they not have a pension for serving you and I? Let's bring it to Rivers State. Should ex-governors, looking back as far back as even to the military time, should these people not be paid pension, for the good job? For instance, during Wike's time in office, we had a lot of overpass or bridges. We had a lot of them. It beautified the environment of Port Harcourt and by extension Obiakpor. It also eased the traffic situation, and so what would have taken us a longer time to a place that would have taken us a longer time to get to now get to at a very short period of time. So that will also help businesses thrive. So some other things it did. Some other things. Ameti, for instance, the Songhai farm that we're talking about, the Ada Judge dualization, the dualization of the Ada Judge road. So many other projects were also done during his administration. You go back to Orderly's time, there were some other projects, some other things that were done during the time. Should these people not be paid pension for their services to Rivers people? And if you say no, they should not be paid pension, then why would you say so? I'm just asking. They've given 8 years of their time. They've served you. What reason? And when you look at some of the packages, that there is, I think, a house attached to it, police security attached to it. I think SUVs, about 2 attached to it. Then I think a sum of money as well. I can't remember the details now, but I think a sum of money. So the question to you is, do you think Nigerians are making a big deal out of this? SERAP especially, do you think they're making a big deal out of this? It's nothing. They've worked, so they should get paid pension. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp messages to the number 0809-030-6416. We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We are active on X, Nigeria Info PH, and we are live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. I've got Eze. Eze Ken is calling me from Ubimini in MOA local government area. All right. Eze Ken, greetings to you. Welcome on the show. What is on your mind?
Canada.
Yeah, welcome.
If I may ask, are politicians civil servants?
But they are not civil servants per se, but when they are in government, they are doing civil service work.
You see, especially the governor, in fact, generally, the politicians are not supposed to be paid pension because they were voted for. They were elected to serve their country, their communities or states. Whatever thing they made out of it should be their benefit. Otherwise, watch out what is happening around the civil servant cycle. Civil servants are crying, wailing for their gratuity and other things. And these people, as a politicians they were, are enriching their families and relatives.
Let me ask you a question because I quickly have to go. Let me ask you a question. If you were an ex-governor, would you like to earn a pension after giving 8 years of your time to serve?
Yeah, go ahead. If I should be opportune to be an ex-governor, I believe that I was there, or I will be there to serve my people, get something out of it, then give them their own percentage in the times of the evidence of democracy, and then I will go out of that place, and not to be demanding sharing the resources of my state or my country or LGA in the name of one-time governor, chairman, or president, or whatever. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Eze Ken. I've got Zion from Jare. Zion, greetings. Welcome on the show. Let's get your thoughts on this. Okay. Poor connection. Ida from Inkoro, welcome.
Yeah, Kalada, I greet you especially in Inkoro language.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes. Like the civil servant in River State. I'm from River State. And my mother is a civil servant. My father is a civil servant. The past governor and this governor are doing very, very well in civil service, in terms of civil service. Then, I know when they retire as a governor, they will not collect pension because they build River State very, very well. So they will eat the thing that they build, not to collect pension. Thank you very much. God bless you. I don't know that from Inkoro.
All right, thank you very much, Ida from Inkoro. Keep those calls coming in. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. I've got Laye. Laye is calling from Port Harcourt. Laye, greetings to you. What's on your mind, please, quickly?
Hello.
Laye, what's on your mind? I can hear you.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. What's on your mind, please?
Okay. I don't think say that they just and if you want to compare what they have for 8 years, the simple people that will work for 35 years. I know you must not.
Laye, your line is breaking. I can't hear you clearly and audibly. Can you repeat what you've said? Oh, sorry, Laye. I've got to let you go. Really sorry about that. I've got Obed from Port Harcourt. Obed, welcome.
Kalada, good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you. Welcome on the show.
Kalada, we shouldn't be discussing this kind of issue right now on this very economic, bad economic state of the nation.
Okay.
Morality should tell former governors that they shouldn't collect pension. Kalada, somebody emerged as a governor through hook or crook. You understand? And at the end of the day, you amass so much wealth for yourself. Most of the governors allegedly collect kickback from contractors to enrich themselves. We cannot take away that. That's why the Gandoji home came out.
Let me ask you a question.
They inflict contracts to billions of naira for themselves. Now, leaving office, they enact laws that will pay them for life. Owning houses, every part of the world they choose. Different kind of exotic cars for themselves. Then you want to collect pension. That's why I said morality should tell these former governors that they don't need to collect pension when they leave office. You understand? So I think SERAP, I know that they should pursue this matter to the logical conclusion.
Right.
This is a crime against Nigeria.
Obed, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, please? Oh my, sorry about that. Connection issues yet again. Miriam from Okrika. Miriam.
You no longer have.
Miriam, go ahead. What's on your mind, please?
Oh, thank you, Kalada. Good evening. It's your Okrika woman from Okrika.
All right, Miriam.
You see, Kalada, how does the civil servant rise? He starts from the very beginning of his job. A civil servant that is employed starts from, maybe, let me say, level grade 8 and step 3. And in 3 years' time, he rises from his rank, maybe to level grade 9, step 4, gradually, and as he's growing like that, from one level, from one step to another, is contributing. Part of his salary is being saved for him. It's a contributory pension, Kalada. And as he's saving, the state or the federal government is saving much more for him too.
Right.
He is saving, the state or federal government is saving. When he finally gets to the highest level of his rank, trust me, maybe as a director or as a PAMSEC, he now retires. All those monies he has saved, Kalada, and the government has saved for him, they will now sum it up together and now give him to go and rest. Kalada, the civil servant eats like a snail. He treks on the road, struggles gradually, but the public servant comes into office and eats like a crab.
Right.
Eats with his 2 hands full.
Right.
As he comes in, they give him a jeep, they give him a Range Rover, they pay him in millions. Trust me, Canada, no civil servant starts a job and they start paying him in millions. It is impossible. In fact, it's maybe in the next world that happens. But you cannot tell me, Canada, that the public servant that comes and eats in food should be paid pension. It is not right, Kalada. It is wrong.
All right,
it is unfair to this civil servant.
Muriel, I've got
Thank
to
you,
go.
Kalada.
I've got to go for a
All
break. Thank you very much. But I think my guest has now joined me. Mr. Oluwadare, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, welcome on the show. But unfortunately, you're joining me at a time when I have to go for a 5 minutes break. So you just stay on the line. When we come back, you and I will talk about SERAP taking ex-governors to court, and you give us the details about it.
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you. us the reason why, please.
Thank you very much. It's very important to distinguish. There are two different. We have two courses of action in the suit before the court. They call it the basis of the action. One is a request for information, and the second is a request for action. Okay. So we start with the first one, the request for information. To ask pertinent questions that Nigerians should be interested to know. That is, these former governors who are now senators in the National Assembly, have they been earning pensions as former governors where they have been senators, and how much have they earned? That is on one side. The second aspect, which is a request for action, is for them to refund the amount of pensions that they've earned while they are senators back to the coffers of their states. That is the two bases for the actions before the court. And as to the first one, the request for information, it is predicated on the Freedom of Information Act and the provisions of freedom of expression in the Constitution, which of course makes public officers accountable to Nigerian people. It is not enough to canvass for votes and say XYZ. The people should know. And that is why we have the budget in the open space. We should know these details about public funds.
Okay.
And the payment of pensions itself is unlawful. Don't forget, there is a judgment of court, Honorable Justice Ogodoyibo, delivered in November 2019 that has declared these, that has stated these in 2019. That is on one hand. As to the earning of pension as a former governor and earning from the state as a National Assembly member, we'll call that double emolument. It is also clearly unlawful as it conflicts constitutional provisions in the Code of Conduct of Public Officers, specifically paragraph 2 sub A of the Code of Conduct for Public Officers in the 5th schedule of the 1999 Constitution is very clear. It forbids any public officers, and all these officers are public officers, including the president, from earning salaries and emoluments from two public offices at the same time. And don't forget, the Code of Conduct for Public Officers is of such importance that it is even a basis for impeachment, and it's a crime that can be tried by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. And so it is not, we're not talking of morality. It is a matter of legality. It's a constitutional provision.
Now, let's stick with legality first. I do understand that all of the states that you have taken to court have got a law, or have got laws passed by their state houses of assembly that makes it possible and legally possible for the ex-governors to take pension. How do you speak to that?
Yes, it's very important, and this is why public education is very important. So there are constitutional provisions that allow for payment of pensions to specific classes of public officers. In this instance, we're talking about governors and their deputies. Section 124 subsection 5 of the Constitution allows state assemblies to make pensions for governors and their deputies, and it's very important to understand the letters and the purpose of the Constitution. Section 124 sub 5 uses the word may. It says that provisions may be made by the state house assemblies. Don't forget, may is permissible. Now, on the flip side, Section 84 subsection 5 allows pension for the president and the vice president. It uses the word shall. And you see the difference. It uses the word shall. Of course, it's mandatory. And don't forget, the same Constitution that uses may as a permissible action for pension for state governors and the deputy also uses may in the provisions of Chapter 2 of the Constitution, socio-economic rights, that would afford all Nigerians access to free education, to free healthcare, to good roads and water. But in this instance, the members of the State of Assembly, and I mean the state governments in this instance, chose to use the permissive section of the Constitution to make laws that would benefit them, and chose not to use the permissive section of the Constitution to make laws that would benefit a wide range of Nigerians. How can you justify that in law and morality? Secondly, when you are reading any document, particularly in this instance the law, and the document as a partner of the constitutions, it is very important to read it holistically, not individually. So when you look at Section 124 sub 5 that allows the permissive word for that allows states to make pension for governors, and the oath of office for public officers and the code of conduct of public officers, and you marry all these sections together, do you think the intention of the Constitution is to rob the millions of people in the state who are poor of the opportunity to live quality life at the expense of paying few governors and their deputies? That can never be the intention. And that is why payment of pensions, particularly in the scope and quantum of those payments, in itself unlawful. It offends every sense of economics, and it offends every provisions of the Constitution in that regard. And that is on the one hand.
Now, you said it's an impeachable offense collecting emoluments from two different public pockets, and you said it's something that is a crime and one can go in for it. Looking at the ex-governors, some of them are in the National Assembly, some of them are ministers. How do you think it will play out if they are found guilty?
This is not a criminal suit. This is a civil suit brought by SERAP.
Okay.
To make these public officers, to compel them to disclose information under the Freedom of Information Act, and to compel them to take specific actions under the constitutional provisions. This is not a criminal offense. But part of the legal argument that we are using, that even if we had the functional democracy and institutions of states that are taking their jobs clearly, shows that if this practice is indeed established against individuals, it is a clear breach of constitutional provisions. And the Code of Conduct Tribunal is there. It is mandated by the Constitution to try breach against the Code of Conduct officers. And so that is not SERAP's job. Though that is the duty of public institutions like the Code of Conduct Tribunal. It is very important to draw that distinction. Now that these facts in the public domain, what will those public institutions do?
Now, do you think it will be easy? I'm asking this question because, on the show, we've also had the conversation. And here in River State, we know that there is a law that was passed during the administration of Rotimi Chibike Amechi. And then when Wike came into office, Wike attempted to repeal, but we did not see the actualization of a repeal. We've seen a former governor enjoy certain gifts from the River State government, and we assume that might be, pension at play. We assume because a house was built, SUVs were bought, some other cash gifts were given. But we've been asking questions, and we've not gotten replies. Do you think this will be easy? Some people say the court may not,
many duties, obligations, and rights between citizens and government, and even between arms of government. And that is why we're in court. And we are very hopeful. We believe in the judicial process. As daunting as that may sound, as skeptical as some people may think, we believe in the judicial process. And that is why we have subjected this, among the many things we've subjected to the judiciary, to the courts to determine. And I really struggle to see any reason why the court will not decide in the public interest in this instance, to compel these individuals to disclose these facts that should already be in the public domain, and to take steps to refund these fund monies which are commonwealth and that belong to the people of Nigeria, particularly the people of those states. To give a certain depth to this conversation, maybe perhaps if people understand the nature of this payment, it may give some level of clarity. If you will permit me, we can briefly look at the Akwa Ibom State Pension Law, as it were, that allows an annual payment of 200 million naira to a former governor, 2 official vehicles with chauffeurs, furniture allowance of 300% of basic salary replaceable every 4 years, and 8, 1 cook, and lifetime security guards worth 5 million naira monthly, 2.5 million naira for the deputy. Still under the Akwa Ibom State Life Pension Law, there is a state-sponsored annual medical service of about 100 million naira for the ex-governors and their spouses, 50 million for the ex-governor, and the 5-bedroom mansions in Abuja and Akwa Ibom. That's not all. It goes on, and this is replicated virtually across the state. For Gombe State, it's 200 million naira pension for ex-governors, with another 30-day paid travel expenses to any country of their choice with their wife. So you begin to think, is this justifiable? Can this be lawful? Is this economically sustainable? When you think of the fact that there are millions of people in those states who are poor, At the last count, the National Bureau of Statistics says that more than 130 million Nigerians are poor multidimensionally. Are there no poor people in those states that these funds could be used for their welfare and interest? These are states, some of them owe a backlog of pension for people who have served the state for to 25 years. That means old pension. And then a former governor or deputy governor that just served the state for 4 to 8 years. We are not diminishing their service to the state, but must they earn so much at the expense of other people? It's just not justifiable. It is clearly not sustainable. At least not at the rate we are going.
Let me rephrase my question because my time is up, but I'm going to quickly ask the question again. The court is about facts, and let's say you're not able to argue and get the judgment in your favor. What will be SERAP's next step? Because like you've explained, the politicians, the ex-governors are doing this at the expense of the people. So what will be your next step? Quickly, please.
To ensure that this judgment is enforced and there is accountability and relief for the people of Nigeria who have suffered this loss at the benefit of the few.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. You were saying, please.
Yes, that it would be to enforce this judgment to ensure that these funds are returned back to the states where they've been taken, and that would benefit the people of those states. It would be a win for democracy, a win for the people, really.
All right, then. In River State, the law allows the state to buy 3 new vehicles that would be replaced every year for the governors, and 300% funding for any furniture of their choice. Also, they are entitled to a house in any choice location in Nigeria, and there are other benefits. Like orderlies and security agents in guarding them. But that's the much that we can take. Thank you very much, Mr. Oluwadare, for your time and for explaining why you have taken the ex-governors to court.
Thank you very much.
Just before I go, correct me if I'm wrong. Also, the ministers, those who are ex-governors who are collecting pension, will also be carried along. Will also be sued, right?
Yes, there's a suit in court on that as well before this.
All right, then. All right, thank you very much, and let's talk in the nearest future.
Thank you.